This amount of water can save the whole world. While I was admiring the scene, the king's hands were all over me. After the nuclear war, were you guys chosen to use the devil's weapons against each other? Most of the water on Earth was polluted, and life became hell. Let me introduce myself. I am Rain but I don't know where I exactly am on Earth. They call this village the King's Garden. In my time, no one cares about places anymore, or about history or science, or the green papers that you people cared about. I read about you in some of the books I found in the big empty buildings you used to live in. I didn't believe my mom when she told me about heaven, but I believed her after what I saw. You are the generation who swam in clean water just for fun, even took a shit into clean water and cooked with it. Those were some beautiful times you lived in. Now, water is the currency here. We got used to a drop of it every day, but everyone is always so thirsty. You can't drink the ocean water because it's salty. No, because of pollution. Animals got used to it, but we couldn't. The rivers are also polluted. All of this pollution made the maximum age of a human 30 years old. And if you die, your body is donated to your family so they drink it, or sell it, or give your son a wife. To get married, you have to give the bride a bucket of water, which is a life amount of water. Nobody gets married. If you look at the city, you can see why. It's so dry. The faces of the people are so sad and thirsty. Happiness is like diamonds in this age, so only royalty smile. Speaking of royalty, our king is a legend. He invented a way to make water, but he said he couldn't make a lot because it's too hard and needs his royal blood. That legend is sacrificing his blood every day for us, his people. If you are fortunate enough to see his noble face, consider yourself blessed. You are particularly lucky if you are chosen to serve as a soldier or a maid in the king's gardens. Our king lives up in that green mountain that overlooks the whole city. People say, that's the only green place in the whole world. Since I was 5, I used to sit on this rock and watch the green garden, dreaming about being the queen to help my king and give everyone a chance to get into that beautiful place even once in their life. I am 18 now, and I still live for that dream. Everyone tells me I'm beautiful, so I think I might have a chance. And I'm one of the pure ones. That's what we call people who didn't get a malformation because of pollution. One day, I was on this rock like always, just admiring the castle while I heard a noise. Oh my God, that's the king's parade. I got to go fast, finally, and I will see him. I was running as fast as I can until I saw the crowd. I knew I wouldn't be able to see his face if I went into them, so I climbed a house next to me, and there he is. But he wasn't alone. His son is with him. That boy looks innocent, like an angel. His father was speaking to the people around him. I couldn't hear, or, to be honest, I didn't care about his speech. I just couldn't get my eyes away from the prince. Suddenly, he looks at me and locks our eye contact with me. I tried to look away, but I couldn't. He charmed me with his soul-capturing eyes. But what rocked my world was not the prince. It's the king. He's looking at me too. No, he's pointing at me, and the whole crowd turned to look at me. I was so confused. I didn't know what to do or what to say. The king, the hero, the savior, is looking at me. I felt happy, but kinda confused. His son, I don't know, but I didn't have time to think. The king sent one of his soldiers to get me. He grabbed my hand and walked me to the king in the middle of the crowd. Then the king screamed,
I choose this poor girl to be one of my maids. I choose this girl, one of your normal people, to have the honor to live with me in the garden. Who is her father?
And my father just popped out of the crowd looking very happy. I mean, I was happy too, but felt like I had no choice or a chance to say goodbye to my mom and friends. But it's the king. No one can say no. Just look at how happy my father is, especially when the king sent one of his soldiers to get him. A barrel of water. The crowd was choked. Some girls were screaming, "Take me! Take me!" Fathers were holding their girls on their shoulders as the king gets me on his horse. Wow, I still can't believe what's happening. Wait, the prince. He looks mad. Why is he looking at his father like he stole something from him? Then he runs away with his horse, heading to the castle. Seeing him, the king waves for the shocked crowd and heads to the castle. I looked at my village, my people, my mom who just came crying, and saw the dry, sad faces looking at me. I promised myself that I'm going to make these people's lives so much better. After 10 minutes of riding, we finally arrived at the gate of the garden, which was enough to shock me. It was just so much gold. And after 5 minutes of passing gates, we were finally there. Forget about the fruit trees and enjoy the air. I felt like I was born again, am free, am fresh. Wow, this is the real heaven! Then, out of nowhere, I looked at the king and said, "Thank you." He looks at me and smiles. It felt like a moment, but didn't last for long, because we arrived at the castle door. The queen and her son, the prince, were waiting. The queen looked as beautiful as the sky at sunrise, with her dress and jewelry, but I could tell she's very mad. But I don't know who. Is it me? Or is it her husband? I think both of us. As we stopped, I was getting ready to try to find the best words to say to the royals in front of me, but didn't have a chance because I was taken away by one of the maids. For a month, I've been learning how to be the perfect maid for the royal family. How to obey every order, cook, clean, even work at the fields. But there's one place no one can go into it. It's the king's special garden. Only the king can enter. Even the queen can't. That made me so curious. After a month in the castle, I started to understand a lot of things, and my relationship with the prince started to become something. He brought me gifts and flowers, and even took me places in the gardens where we had some romantic moments. I was very happy. I felt alive for the first time. The king always smiles at me sometimes when I'm working. He helps me. I was living my dream, loving my life. Until one day, the king sent for me. The maids made were some weird lingerie who showed most of my body. I had no clue what was going to happen, but they told me that I was going to the king's special garden. And that was enough to stop the questions. But why am I dressed like this? After getting ready, the maids took me to the doors of the garden. I waited for an hour, half naked in a freezing castle. Finally, someone opened the gates. It's the king, holding a cup of wine. He grabbed my hand and said,
"Tonight, you're gonna be a queen,"
and pulled me into the garden. But what I saw broke my heart. It's water. It's a lot of water, coming from everywhere. From walls, from the sky, and even the floor is like a big lake with some islands in it. I was so confused. This amount of water can save the whole world. While I was admiring the scene, the king's hands were all over me. After waking up from the shock, I immediately pushed him away and headed to the door. But he didn't let me. He grabbed my hair so hard I couldn't move. I would have submitted to him if I didn't find out that he was a liar, that he was been hiding the water and benefiting from people's misery. But I couldn't help it. He's too strong. I was about to give up when his son came. He hits him in his face and pushes him away from me and said, "How could you do this to me? I told you I want her to be my wife. You know I love her."
"You are all mine. I built your world. You're all my property."
The king looked like an angry devil. Then the prince grabbed my hand and started running at the door where we met his mother. She heard everything, and without any hesitation, she slaps her son, who didn't seem to care. He just gave her a very cold look and continued running. The king wasn't going to let us be together. He wants no answer as an answer. We took a horse, some drops of water, and some food, and we headed out of the castle, knowing that soon soldiers would be looking for us. Pictures and prices will be all over the city. We had no idea where we were going. We felt weak and lost, and I questioned myself. Who would help me? And I couldn't think of anyone except my father. So we went to my home, but it was already filled with soldiers looking for us, with pictures of me all over the walls, with 2 barrels of water as a price for the person who captures us. It was impossible to reach my family. So we waited until the guards slept and sneaked into the house. When I found my mom praying and crying, and my father is sleeping next to his barrel, so we snuck into my parents' bedroom. When Mom saw me, she was about to go crazy, but the prince covered her mouth. I told her everything as fast as I could and asked for her help us hide. After a little bit of thinking, she hides us in the basement until my dad wakes up and finds us a good place to hide. The next morning, she told him everything. But instead of helping us, he immediately locked us in the basement. She tried to stop him, but he hits her until she's knocked out. And then, he tells the guards about us. At that moment, I felt like life stopped having meaning. Why am I resisting? Are these the people I'm trying to help? This traitor, who I once called Dad, don't deserve to be in a perfect world when everyone can drink as much as they want. However, when I looked at the prince, he was still fighting. He's not giving up, even in front of 30 soldiers. Only then, I remembered that there is no time for giving up, and you can't blame thirsty people. After being captured, the king humiliated us. He kept us in a freezing cold cell where I couldn't stand up properly. Every 3 days, he would let his wet hand into my cell so I could drink 1 drop of water. Until he decided to finally kill me. He was an evil monster, but he couldn't kill his son. I wasn't afraid of death. To me, it seemed like freedom. This world was just too messed up to live in. Now the day is finally here. I am walking straight to my death, feeling weak and pathetic. The guards fixed my head on the scaffold in the middle of the city where everybody is watching. Then the king stood up and said,
This is what happens when you give honor to people who don't deserve it. This blood stealer tried to cut my throat and drink my blood. I gave her the chance to be a holy maid, but she refused. Well, I want to forgive traitors. I won't forget selfish people who don't think about people's lives.
His speech moved everyone's feelings. The crowd erupted in anger, eagerly awaiting my demise. Initially, I didn't care. But as I looked at them, I realized they were being deceived. They didn't know the truth, and if I remained silent, they would continue living in ignorance. So, I took a deep breath, feeling as though my lungs were about to burst. I faced them and shouted, "You foolish slaves! Do you truly believe he's turning water into wine? That's what we've all been told, but I have seen the truth. The water exists. Redemption lies beneath our feet. He swims and revels in clean water while many of you are harming your children to drink their blood. Wake up, people! You are being treated like animals. Your daughters are nothing but toys for him to play with, and your sons are dying in his wars. What do you gain in return? A drop of water while he bathes in lakes of it. Please, don't believe him. Wake up!" Tears streaming down my face. For a moment, I thought the crowd had begun to believe me. They looked stunned, questioning themselves and starting to grasp the truth. But then, I heard a man scream,
Don't believe her. She is a lying slave trying to save her own life. I've known her since she was a little girl. She has always been dishonest and manipulative. Do not believe her and obey your king.
That voice. It was my father. My own father was standing against me. But as I mentioned, you can't blame a thirsty man. The crowd descended into chaos. Their chants of, "Kill her! Kill her! Kill her!" ringing in my ears. But a feminine yet authoritative voice suddenly commanded,
"Shut up!"
It was the queen. As her words resonated, the crowd fell into complete silence. She was flanked by around 30 maids, each carrying a bucket filled with water. Then she raised her hand, and each maid poured water over herself. The crowd was shocked and quickly became frenzied, eager to get their hands on the maid's clothing, which was now soaked and disheveled. It was a chaotic scene. Even my parents were swept up in the madness, fighting for just a drop of water. Confused, the king tried to command his soldiers to restore order, but they were the first to join in the chaos. It was absolute mayhem until the queen addressed the crowd with conviction.
"My people, this girl is speaking the truth. We do have enough water for all of us. 50 years ago, your king discovered a water hole in these mountains and deceived us into believing he was the one providing the water. This tyrant has made us all suffer. But now it is time to live normally. It is time to be happy again. It is time to be free."
Her speech resonated deeply with everyone present. Finally, everyone believes. Everyone started screaming at the king. They're marching on him. They want to kill him. Until his son, the prince, he just came out from the angry crowd, holding a sword and screaming, "I will punish him! Move away from him!" And they did move away. After a year, the king got his punishment. He was banished from the city with 30 drops of water. Finally, life started to feel good in the village. I was chosen to be the queen, and the prince is my king now. And we swore that anyone we'll welcome in here, anybody who can appreciate the gift of water, can live with us. And don't forget, a thirsty man is a devil.